With Street Fighter 6 on the horizon and the DNF Duel coming out very soon, I think the question that we're all asking is who is going to be on the starting roster and how big is it going to be? What is the ideal starting roster size? And so today what I want to do is take a look at 3 or 4 fighting games that I've played in the past and really enjoyed and all had differing starting roster sizes and see how they panned out over time and how the community has kind of felt about them and how I feel about them. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the month of June, so if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. First game I want to take a look at is Grambler. I'm going to put the starting roster up here on the screen. Started with 11 characters. Traditionally, a very simple game compared to a lot of other games in the genre, like Tekken or I guess Street Fighter to an extent. It was very simplified, had the auto combos and all that. And basically, the combo structure in that game is very easy to understand at a basic level, right? You can do auto combo into special move follow-up, and you might be able to cancel that special move into a super or something. It was not very hard to grasp for most characters. You could pick one up and sort of do that combo structure and get things done. You could play anybody on the first day, to be honest with you. It was not anything crazy. So for there only to be 11 characters, I could see why some people were upset. But I think the level of detail and the animation and how great the characters looked warranted them only having 11 at the start. Also, because the Grambler IP is so large and expansive, I mean, the mobile game is huge. It brought in a ton of casual players who might not be used to playing fighting games. So for the characters to be simplified for people like me and you who play these games was not as simple for other people who picked it up. They actually did have to struggle through it and like figure out how to do the special moves and how to use the special button versus the motions and everything like that. So I think for this game in particular and the crowd that it drew in, like it drew in a lot of casuals, 11 was fine. I think 11 was actually a perfect number. And like I said, the combo system on the surface was pretty simple to understand, but when you really get into depth in these characters, and this is pretty universal too, when you start to get in depth with the characters, you understand that that's not really the combo structure you want to use to be optimal, right? You don't want to be doing auto combos into a special move. You start to learn more about your character, you start to learn about all the cool stuff they can do. And for me, the big thing was the anti-air combos. Those were not as easy as some of the things you can do on the ground. There's like weird juggle properties to certain things, like Catalina I think could do 2H into her little shield thingy and then juggle them and then do like some crazy anti-air combos that were not super intuitive, and you couldn't do them all on the first try if you're like a scrub like me. The other plus is that you can learn the matchups pretty quickly. Like you learn your character, that's 1, you learn the mirror, and then you learn the other 10 and you start to form your game plan against the other characters. And as the DLC ones come out, you can just keep adding on to your repertoire. You're not like I don't know, picking up a game and learning your character and then 29 other matchups. Let's talk a little bit about Street Fighter V. It launched with 16 characters, which I think is okay. I think 20 would be ideal for Street Fighter 6 just because this is an established fighting game title, right? It's not like Grambler where it's bringing in mobile gamers. It's bringing in like people who play the genre and who know the Street Fighter name. They know what they're getting themselves into. So I could see why adding a few more characters in would be like warranted. Also, just the sheer amount of characters that people want to see return that haven't been in the series since like Third Strike or Street Fighter 4. I mean, Street Fighter 4 at this point is about 10 years old, right? So there's just so many characters they could put in. I wouldn't mind learning 19 other matchups plus my own character's mirror at the start. I think anything over 20 might be overkill though. The characters in Street Fighter are pretty unique from each other, right, in the way that they play. So it just might be a little bit overwhelming to new players as well as established players trying to learn the matchups, you know. Not everybody's intentions at the start of a game are the same. Some people just want to play, some people want to be competitive, and some people want to try and make a career out of it. And I think the starting roster definitely plays into that a little bit. But yeah, ideally for Street Fighter 6, probably 20 characters. That's probably what I'm looking for when that game drops. And I think they have enough characters in their repertoire and like built up over all those years of Street Fighter to make a unique and cohesive cast that everybody will be pretty happy with. The last game I want to speak to is Dbfz. It started with like 24 characters, and in a similar fashion to KOF, those team games can start with those many characters because sometimes they share like play styles, or they share combo structures, or they share frame data. So if you understand a certain set of characters, you can kind of understand all of them, right? So like in Dbfz, if you play a Saiyan, there's like the Saiyan B&B. So every Saiyan character kind of has that same combo structure. Is it optimal? No, but does it help you get started and get you off the auto combos? Yeah. They also kind of have to launch with that many characters because it is a team game. You have to pick 3 characters on your team, and you don't want people like playing the mirror over and over again. So yeah, they'll have 24 to, like, I think KOF launched with 52, and they're already about to hit 55 off of DLC. It's pretty crazy to think about. But if you play those games, let me know how matchups work. Do you learn like a certain set of characters matchups, and then you kind of, like, if you learn Goku's matchup, right? You learn a matchup against one of the Gokus. If you play the other ones, do you kind of have an idea of what they're going to do, or how does that kind of work? And another thing worth mentioning about the DBFZ starting roster is 3 of those characters were unlockable, I think, through playing the story mode, which is very interesting. I think more games should do that, like kind of lock characters behind a story mode, but then they have to make the story mode actually good, right? Don't make it like Guilty Gear where you lock Soul behind the story mode and then you have to watch a 3-hour movie. I think if they worked on the story mode and made it fun and interactive and also put a character behind it, that would be good. I don't really know how the story works in DBFZ or if it's good or bad. Let me know down in the comments below. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I'll talk to you again soon.